So here's a post solely because I want to clean up my desk and because Jason hasn't arrived to Big Bad Toy Store yet, so I can't ship my loot. And the joints for Solid Snake failed me. They were the wrong kind, and I had to buy some new ones, and they are also in order. But anyway, I wanted to show off just quickly my Transformers Prime collection here and what I did with them. So, I mean, I've already showed off Prime here. As you can see, highlighted like some metallic, just like some silver on the red bits, and I repainted all the metal bits and his head. You can see his eyes in there and the gun, and again you can see like the metal details on the arms there. Like, I already made videos separately for Prime and Megatron, so I won't really be talking about them, but here's Megatron again. You can see the eyes in there. It's pretty dark, but you can sort of make it out. Head resculpted. Everything repainted here from scratch, pretty much. So let's set those two giants aside and take a look at the other ones. I guess we can start with Wheeljack, which I did the least amount of work on. I think I just painted this bit here. Yeah, this bit here to a nice silver, and I repainted the eyes. Most of these have repainted eyes because I'm not actually like a huge fan of light piping. Usually it just doesn't show up, or it doesn't look like it didn't show, like being like one glowing color instead of like them having pupils and stuff. But all the other metallic bits here repainted. Same goes for the arms, and other than that, I'm pretty sure his markings were correct. Feet also repainted, so I didn't really have to do too much, so that's Jackie for you. RC, on the other hand, had an extensive repaint. These lines here, painted in. All these bits here were originally, I think they were just straight up silver, so I painted them to the pink she has in the show. And then her head is completely repainted, as you can see. She doesn't have the light piping anymore. She has like black here, and then the actual eyes with the white pupils like that. And then I painted a little smirk on her.
Winning isn't enough, Jack. You want to make him cry.
Really happy with how she turned out. She's probably one of my favorites just because I really like the way her eyes turned out. Next up is Bumblebee. So this is the RID Bumblebee, which some people say it's a pretty bad figure. I would say it's a decent one. I would much rather have the first edition Bumblebee, but I cannot find him. And, you know, if anyone wants to try to sell him to me, then by all means, shoot me a message. I don't really like this flap back here, but it's alright. Apparently the wings on this Bumblebee is more accurate than the first edition though. But I painted the metal bits in here. I redid his eyes. His eyes are quite deep in, so it's hard to see, but you can probably see it from like this angle that the eyes are blue in there. Then you can probably also see this metal pin here. And it's because I wanted the chest to sit higher up, because originally it's at like down, like these were probably like more like down here, and it just looked a bit crap. Yeah, other than that, metal details repainted, gave it a nice wash here to highlight some of the like sculpt work, and I painted this bit and this bit. So, Bulkhead.
Record style.
Well, first and foremost, I did like metallic dry brushing through the entire thing, because Bulkhead is he's a bit roughed up. I mean, it also fits his character, but this dry brushing really helps accentuate, you know, just how good looking this figure is. I love this figure. I also changed the head, because while the first edition head is pretty good, it's way too square, and found that the RID Bulkhead had a lot better, it had a way closer design aesthetic to the show. I had to modify it and then create a joint here for it, but it sits nice and snug. But yeah, I'm really happy with how Bulkhead turned out in particular, because Bulkhead is one of my favorite characters from this show, and I love this head sculpt. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's a shame about the new Bulkhead that Hasbro's doing. It doesn't look anything like this nice rounded design, but oh well. I got my perfect Bulkhead. So, moving on with the Autobots, we have Ultra Magnus here. So, Ultra Magnus had these bits weren't painted. I don't think these were either. It was just like straight up grey. You can sort of see it's a slight different blue, but it's hard to match, you know, like shiny factory plastic. I also painted all these little crevices here into this like Energon blue, legs repainted silver, and these stripes were also painted, and these stripes here. Well, these aren't stripes, it's just like some circle detail, I guess. And the arms, like all this extra red just really helps sell this look. Because originally he was very just like blue and boring grey. I really like Ultra Magnus in this show. I love Michael Ironside and I think he did a fantastic job. I saw someone on, I think it was Etsy, had a claw replacement hand, and I am tempted to get that actually because, yeah. I would also like a better hammer because this Forge of Souls Prime hammer is pretty crappy. It's tiny and
Soldier, we may not be on Cybertron, but military protocol remains.
So, Smokescreen. He was very white originally, so I painted this bit silver, like the face itself, and then I painted in the mouth so you can actually see the smirk. I think originally he had yellow eyes as well, so you can see the blue, and then you can see a faint black outline where his like the actual eye is, and then it's just blue, just like in the show. And this bit's painted red. He also isn't in this color scheme for too long. He sort of changes to more classic blue really fast.
Too hot for you cons!
Moving on again, Ratchet. So Ratchet has completely repainted eyes, as you can see here. It's really hard to get an angle on most of these, like a lot of the paintwork I did on the eyes, but you can probably see it like there. I also painted in the mouth and painted these little bits here, and then silver detailing here, silver here, painted in these red stripes, and painted the feet.
I needed that!
I know he's supposed to have like a lot more red detail, but it was a lot of line work and I couldn't really be bothered, to be honest. But I think Ratchet turned out perfectly fine. So, moving on to the Decepticons. So, we can start off with Knockout here, who has a massive overhaul. So, these little yellow bits here, for starters, repainted. Well, they're painted in, they weren't even there in the first place. Then we have white stripes here. It's not really that smooth because this plastic is really slippery and difficult to paint on, and I didn't really want to prime it because I wanted to keep it like nice and shiny, I guess. These shoulder pads repainted here. Car windows here are tinted dark. Well, they're tinted black. They're just actually painted from the inside, but from the outside here you can see it just works out really well. It just looks like tinted black glass. Gold details here, gold details here, arms painted. You can see the inside of the, I don't know what to call that, but it's like black with gold highlights. And some more gold details down here. Painted these bits in black, really does a lot because originally this is just one big red piece. And the one thing I'm the most satisfied about, which I obviously saved to the very end, is the head. I really like the face. I painted his entire like face plate, I guess, white, because originally it was silver, and then I painted in the eyes. Let's see if we can get a better look at those. And then his cocky little smirk is very much present, even though this... There we go, you can see it better there. Then painted this bit, the little, I don't know, the front piece here black, and these little white nubs. And then he has his goatee. This is one of my favorites. This is originally a really, really horrible figure, but with some paint and some love, it just... Oh, I love him. I also love Knockout. He's such a fantastic character.
I like the way I look in steel-belted radios.
Next up, Soundwave. I did deceptively quite a lot on him. There's some faint purple detail here along the sides of his head, and then in all these, like, all this line work, there's purple detail, and here on his abdomen, there's all these bits are painted in. And originally, I had a lighter, like, sort of brighter purple. It was like borderline pink, and I liked it because it stood out a bit more, but then by rewatching the show I found that the lights are a little bit darker. You can also see it up here, but it sort of blends in with the purple. But yeah, I also really enjoy this interpretation of Soundwave. Actually, in general, that's why I like this show, because all the characters are so fantastic.
Soundwave superior, Autobots inferior.
We'll save the best for last, so we're going with Shockwave here. So, Shockwave, I think my favorite Shockwave is still either animated or G1, but Prime Shockwave is absolutely incredible.
Your conclusion is most logical.
And his toy is really cool too. I painted all of this silver as usual, and then this line work here, purple. Same with here. And there's like a little bit back here as well. And everything here painted silver. All these details in the tank tread thing. I don't know, wire, whatever. Here, purple. I also repainted the entire gun. I sort of want to just cut away this stupid action feature. I think it's alright, but I'm never gonna like actually use it, and it just misaligns the gun. This window is also painted black. You can see this is pretty much like clear plastic, and it's really slippery and difficult to paint. So I mean, from a distance I think it looks fantastic, but if you get closer you can see like some brush marks, but it doesn't really bother me that much. These are painted silver too, and these feet details are also painted silver. Oh yeah, there's a lot of detail on the hands too. You see all this purple here. Just a nice detail. Another thing I just want to rant about real quick, just because I have this figure up and I'm probably not going to talk about him again, is that he's got the most infuriating ratchets for the hips I've ever seen. So here's the first neutral position, right straight down, and then the second is like borderline 45 degrees, and it's just too much. There needs to be something in between. I mean, Shockwave is probably just gonna like stand around and look intimidating and awesome, but still, it's a little bit annoying. I don't really know how to modify it either, to be honest, unless I take the entire thing apart, but I can't really be bothered. So, moving on to my favorites. Not necessarily my favorite character in the show, but he's up there. Starscream is amazing in Transformers Prime, easily my favorite Starscream. And then after that, it's probably G1. This is the deluxe first edition Starscream body. And then this is the Voyager head. And I repainted the head like a lot. Everything here is painted silver. I highlighted the line work he's got in his face. Painted in the mouth. And then I painted in the eyes. Because Starscream in the show has... I don't really know. It's like... They're like original all black with a red light. And then in that red light is white light to be the pupils. And I think I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I did a really good job on replicating that. I think it looks fantastic. And then I painted this antenna red. Originally, the first edition figure had 3 missiles here, which is inaccurate. So I took the single missile from the bigger Voyager figure, and I cut it out and I painted it, and I put these little nails in here. I drilled some holes here, and I drilled a hole here. And you can just have them nice on like that. And these missiles are painted red, obviously, and these bits silver. Yeah, I really love this figure. Look at that face sculpt, it's amazing. The first edition head is pretty good, but it's also really inaccurate in comparison to this one. Like, the eyebrows are just longer and bigger on this one, which is better, and the mouth is in the right place, because the original head has a really high mouth for some reason. And overall, this is one of the best face sculpts of any Transformer I've ever seen, I think.
Starscream, second in command, humble servant to Lord Megatron. United we stand, divided they fall.
Yeah, so that's my Transformers Prime collection. Hope you enjoy that. I will be back to more customizing things soon, hopefully. Like I said, I'm just waiting for the mail, so hang in there. And also I want to say a little shout out to you. Thank you so much, guys, for 10,000 subscribers. It's pretty humbling, not gonna lie, about me just talking about toys and being an absolute nerd. So yeah, cheers, guys!